We go. It's that time. Why? We'll just leave it there. See what happens. Something different.
Effectively utilizing real estate, mortgages, and related financial products to achieve a more secure financial future. For the real estate investor or the home buyer, he's able to provide expertise in matching the right properties and financing with your specific financial objectives. This show is dedicated to helping you find the safe and
connected. Get those earphones connected. Get everything else connected. And there we go. And hello, South Florida. Welcome to another live edition of the Real Estate Show, South Florida's #1 program about real estate and America's longest running daily radio show all about the topic of real estate. My name is Eric Willner, and we are here today to let you know and hopefully for you to find out and watch out for anyone distracted in what's going on right now. There is a lot going on. And in fact, let me go farther to say that distracted homeowners could find themselves blindsided right now by COVID-19. They could even find themselves blindsided by the law and some of the latest developments. And I want to talk about that in today's show. Today is our Wednesday edition of the Real Estate Show, our midweek report, as those of you who are regular listeners would know. Mondays, we started out with our agenda and sort of laying the groundwork, the theme of the week. And we've been talking about being aware and understanding what we're going after. And I talked a lot on Monday about the difference between chasing a concept as opposed to something specific. And the #1 reason why real estate investors are often frustrated is because they chase a concept rather than a specific goal or vision. And we can talk all about that. We did talk a lot about that on Monday. If you want to listen to Monday's show and you want to get a recap of what we talked about, it's a good show. Go to our website at automaticlandlord.com. That's automaticlandlord.com. You can also watch our show on that website. Just go to that site, automaticlandlord.com. Go to the top of the page there where it says the Real Estate Show. Click on that tab. You can choose either to listen to us live as we simulcast this show on our website. Not only are we on 4 channels here in South Florida, 1 AM, 3 FM stations. We're on the website simulcast, as well as being carried by iHeartRadio. And you can just search for www. Money Talk Radio 1470. That's WWNN Money Talk Radio 1470. So today I want to talk about not being blindsided in this marketplace. There's a big revelation that came out today. In fact, there was a bit of genius in what just happened today. And it's kind of interesting how this thing played out. As you know, Congress and the Senate are at an impasse. Congress wants to spend $2.2 trillion. They actually want to spend $3 trillion of your money, and they don't want to tell you what they want to spend it on. They just want that money. Now, it's been kind of clear in the conversation throughout the media that while both the House and the Senate agree on the stimulus check, they agreed on PPP money or payroll protection, more loans and more stimulus for small businesses, all that stuff they could have passed already, but that part is being held up by the Democrats, who want also to bail out the cities that have mismanaged themselves. And of course, the Republicans don't want to have any part of that. They're trying to watch the country's debt just be inflated. And remember, this price is going to have to be paid at some point. We can delay the evictions. We can delay the foreclosures. We can delay the payments through the stimulus. But at some point in time, the chickens will come home to roost. And the question is, are we going to saddle this and the next several generations with, multiple zero of debt? What I'm talking about is we're not talking about billions, tens of billions. We're not even talking about hundreds of billions. We're talking about trillions now. Count the zeros. And what we're looking at right now are hopefully some wise decisions. Yes, we have a short-term problem, and we need massive short-term energy devoted to that short-term problem. But we also need to keep an eye out for the future. We don't want to make our questions, our decisions, I should say, based on knee-jerk reactions without forethought and long sight. So what I'm talking about today, what I'm going to spend today's show on, is how distracted homeowners are going to or could get blindsided by COVID-19 and lose their homes, and some maybe already did. And one of those things where something happened to you, you don't even know it did, and we're going to talk about that. So today's market report, we're going to talk about some of the hearings going on. We're going to talk about the conversations, some of the press releases. We're going to talk about some of the judgments giving, and believe it or not, the CDC is at the forefront of a big play today. And as you know, we were hoping that Congress and the Senate would have gotten together, and we were expecting them, and they had promised that they weren't going to go home they weren't going to leave on vacation if they didn't come to a resolution. Well, that was obviously all talk, because they did not come to a resolution, but they did go on vacation. Yesterday, we had the Speaker of the House, who doesn't care about the rules that you and I have to abide by, wearing masks and going and not getting access to certain types of businesses. I was floored when I saw that. Going in there, opening a business just for herself so she could blow dry her hair without a mask in San Francisco, where she helped to put into place the rules of shutting down the hair salons. A little bit suspicious on that one right there. But nevertheless, they went on vacation and are holding hostage yours and my stimulus check, holding hostage the small business assistance that could have already been released were it not for the additional 1.1 trillion extra dollars, with which there is not even a very clean or clear use. Why? Because most people would not agree to the use of that. And that's how, you throw in this extra fat in a lot of bills for special interest when they have nothing to do and are not related to. Most importantly, just remember, is this related to the COVID, or is this another special interest situation? And it's going to get more serious, I think. And you may see a stalemate that could even lead to a government shutdown. And quite frankly, if they don't get their checks, hell, many Americans also aren't. So maybe that'll be a nice little dose of their own medicine. Anyway, what I want to go into in today's program is talk a little bit about the second stimulus. But here is what, I said before, this is a little bit of a stroke of genius. When the two parts of Congress and the Senate were not able to come together on even a short-term or mini stimulus bill, the president went out and did whatever he could in order to do by his own powers, extending the moratoriums and doing what limited power he had as the president. But he did something also very smart, is that he got the Treasury involved and he got the CDC involved. And even though he doesn't have a long-standing love affair with the CDC, he's seen them as being puppets. He threw the responsibility into their lap, and the CDC then came out with a proclamation or a very extraordinary move to stop evictions by the CDC. Now, how did the CDC have anything to do with evictions? Well, what they did is the White House issued an order Tuesday through the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention that declared evictions during a pandemic a national health hazard. Now, mind you, remember, as a landlord, I'm not thrilled about giving tenants an automatic or blank check buy on this situation. So there are strings attached, but this is a way to at least slow down so that we don't have we don't open the floodgates on all of this all at once. We got to have assistance for the tenants, but we got to have assistance for the landlords. And so while tenant advocates applauded the action, they're out there looking for the best interest of who? The tenants. Most said the move lacked financial relief for tenants and landlords to keep both of them from falling behind and further into debt. So basically what he did is he threw down a roadblock, not necessarily a barrier, but a roadblock to that. Now, without mortgage forbearance protections and protections from other property level financial obligations, such as property taxes, insurance payments, utility service, the stability of the entire rental market sector gets thrown into question. Honestly, it's already in question. The question now is, how do we do a managed or organized soft landing for what is obviously a big problem? P.S. Real estate investors, this is where I think you want to be tuned into the Real Estate Show even more frequently, because over the next several weeks, I'm going to unroll to you some of the interesting stuff that I've discovered in speaking with some top-level banking and industry officials here. The writing is clearly on the wall. It's not vague. It's not, and it's not even encrypted. The writing is clearly on the wall of what's going to happen. And remember, my job here is not to predict, but to prepare you for what's going to happen. Anyway, I'm going to head and prepare for a break. We're going to take a few words and moments here to hear words from our sponsors. You're listening to the Real Estate Show on our midweek edition. Don't touch that dial. You got a lot more good stuff coming up, including some stimulus information as well. We'll be right back. Hey, John. Greetings to Michael in the Bay Area. So we got California, Florida, from coast to coast. Look at that, on our first two people. See who else we got going there. Say hi if you're watching on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, drop a little comment there in the comments. We are building up our library for YouTube. We're not promoting that yet as much, but we are building up the library, and we've got some folks working on a couple of really cool things. We got the lovely and recent birthday, Erica, over there. And so from here to all the way over there. So I'm going to borrow a really interesting, like I said, I've been doing a bit of homework and preparation for what I think is coming up regarding the forbearance, foreclosures, evictions, and so forth. Hey, Brian, how are you? And, we had the Great Recession from 2008 that basically, I don't know whether they ever declared the official end of it, whether it was pretty commonly accepted as being the Great Recession, only surpassed by the Great Depression. Now, I'll be honest with you, I suffered and felt a lot more of the burden of the Great Recession than I do of the pandemic. What do you guys think out there? I don't know if we're leaner and meaner coming out of the Great Recession, so it might affect some people less. Hey, Cynthia, and but I feel, and as I drive around in traffic and going to many of the businesses, I don't quite feel the same level of I don't know what I'd call it, depression or the mood. I think that it seems like we're already kind of rolling out into the reopening more and more. And today, as you can see from my nose, those of you watching on there, These are the prices that you pay for a youth of no sunscreen and long and frequent days at the beach growing up in Rio. And so I had to cut a little piece of skin cancer cut off, catching it early. So everything's cool. Everything's good. But that's what the target here is, right? Maybe that's what some people will look at that as the target right there. Anyway, interesting going to the doctor's office. How you walk in, they do the temperature check, and you fill out a whole bunch of papers. The waivers that I had to sign, admitting that I'm coming, that I could have explored the options of telemedicine. I don't know how you do this on telemedicine. And then basically all the release of liabilities that I had to sign in order to be seen by the doctor there. Anyway, looks like we're coming back here. And welcome back. For those of you just joining us, you are listening to another live edition of The Real Estate Show, a show which is heard live Monday through Friday, 5 days a week from 8 until 8:30 p.m. That's Eastern time. I hope you'll join us each and every day. If you can't miss a show, you can always catch up. You can even binge watch us. Just go on to automaticlandlord.com. That's www.automaticlandlord.com. And then you can go to the top of the page there, click on the Listen Live button during the 8 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, and you can listen to this show literally anywhere in the world that you have internet access. You can take us with you on iHeartRadio just by looking for WWNN, Money Talk Radio 1470, to get the live stream on iHeartRadio. So on your portable device, your phone, you can listen to us, again, anywhere. Our barriers have now fallen, and we are no longer just a South Florida radio show, but a worldwide radio show. And as it goes, the longest running daily worldwide radio show in America. So I was talking in the first part of the program about the importance of really staying in touch with what's going on in the marketplace. The market is changing right now, and the news is coming at you at various speeds. I'm going to say there's a lot of it, and my worry is that homeowners and landlords may get blindsided any day if they don't keep up with what's going on. There are new programs for assistance. We have some properties in the Texas market. There's some stimulus going on by county, by state, and by localities. And you'll see that in other states as well. And it was very interesting. And so late Tuesday, I was talking about this right before the break, as a temporary coronavirus protection, that because the federal one expired on July 28th, and here we are a month later, okay, right? Because August is already finished. A month later, everyone is kind of waving in the wind, exposed. Are you exposed to foreclosure? It depends. If you're in a federally backed mortgage, then you're protected. But many people don't realize that they're not in a federally backed mortgage program. Tenants across the board, if you're not in a federally financed project, you're not protected by the eviction moratorium unless you are protected by your local state. And the states are varying by state by state. Florida is not the same as California. And so you have to check state by state where you are at. Well, so as I was saying before, in a very interesting and I'm gonna say a pretty smart move by the president, since he can't get the House or the Senate to agree on extending any of those moratoriums at the federal level, they can't get them to agree about the stimulus package on a federal level. He's trying to shoot different things, motivate the local state governors to do their thing. But today, or yesterday, I should say, he announced a somewhat creative plan to stop most rental evictions through the end of the year. and giving you that time frame. Remember, we're in September, so you got all of September, October, November, and December. So that's 120 days of reprieve. That's a pretty big deal. The White House issued the order through the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention that declared, let's think about this. This is some pretty brilliant thinking. Declared evictions during a pandemic are a national health hazard, and therefore the CDC needed to step in and intercede and prevent the evictions. Now, I want you to understand, though, and this is why I'm telling you, you got to listen to shows like this and do some of your own homework, because the unprecedented order by the CDC came after a federal moratorium on evictions ran out at the end of July. Now, while tenant advocates applauded the eviction action, most said the administration's move lacked the necessary financial relief. Now, remember, the president he can't unilaterally declare and spend the money out of the treasury, but he is throwing some of the responsibility across the table and saying, you guys got to step in. If you're going to tie my hands, well, then you guys got to do something. And that's exactly what happened. And so while it might lack all of the teeth that you want, it certainly will throw a speed bump in the process, and obviously an incentive for courts and other departments and agencies for them to slow it down too, both on the eviction and the moratorium case. So the CDC order is really quite extraordinary, and but if it's not coupled with rent assistance, it's just pushing the issue down the line. Well, hello, that's what we've been doing all along, and it will snowball into a crisis that landlords and tenants will be recovering from for decades. So hint, 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 opportunity window getting ready to open. The law professor at Wake Forest University, Emily Benfer, and co-creator of the COVID-19 Housing Policy Scorecard with the Eviction Lab at Princeton University, was also said that we're just postponing this. Now we need, get this, $100 billion to cover this deficit, and that investment is far less expensive than the cost of eviction, not to mention, the personal drama and effects that happen, the cost of homelessness, all of the downward effects that this would cause. And this basically would set back what the last 5 years of recovery has accomplished. So for landlord financial assistance, the administration officials pointed to leftover CARES Act funds, as well as money from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. So the president directed them to go look at the money that's there, what has been spent and what has not been spent or allocated, to see what's available for landlords and tenants in this thing. So pretty cool stuff there. Like I said, don't get blindsided. The two parties, are still in discussion, not in the broad level, but of course, Speaker of the House Pelosi and Mark Meadows from the White House. You've got Mitchell from the Senate. They're still talking, and each one likes to come out with their own version of the press release. What we want is this kind of information, what I'm telling you here, the specifics and where you want to go. You want to go to your local, county, and state agencies and find out what incentives, what assistance there may be available. In fact, there's a number, the same way you can call 911. How many of you knew that there's a number called 211? 211, just dial 211 and ask about rental assistance in your area. And if you're a landlord, you should also find out about this and offer it to your tenants. Now, the tenants that don't call back, there's not much I can do to tell you about that other than to proceed as a normal landlord would. But for those that are in cooperation, work together with your tenants, because we'll all come out of this a lot better that way. Anyway, we're out of time for today. That's your midweek report update. We'll be back again tomorrow. We're going to be with our ATM edition, the About the Money. So we're going to dive into some of the finances and what you need to know if you're in real estate. So tune in again tomorrow, same place, same time, to The Real Estate Show. This is Eric Willner signing off for another live edition. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you then. Remember to drive safe, wash those hands, and make it a great day. And God bless America. Bye-bye.